Welcome to week 9 of our daily Bible devotions. This week we're going to take a look at the books of 1st and 2nd Chronicles. And the thing about the 1st and 2nd Chronicles is that originally it's really just one book separated into two. 1st and 2nd Chronicles was written sometime after Judah began to return from the Babylonian exile. It happened probably around 538 BC, and it focused primarily on the history of Judah, which is the southern kingdom of divided Israel. First Chronicles actually begins with several genealogies, with special emphasis on David and Solomon. So, what you will notice here is that First Chronicles chapter 1 will talk about the lineage from Adam to Abraham. And then, it will be followed by from Abraham to Jacob. And then chapter 2 will focus on the genealogy of David from Jacob, or from Israel, to David. So David would be the focus of the First Chronicles, but it talked about genealogy first. It traced first the roots of David. So the focus is David. Why? If you remember, in the previous weeks, we were talking about David's rule was considered by the Israelites up until today to be the golden years. It's the pinnacle, the height of success of the Israelites. It's actually the benchmark, the standard, that if they want to look back at the glory years of Israel, they just have to look back at the time of David. So now, since the Jewish people are about to go back to Jerusalem, they were rescued already from exile. As they go back, they need to trace their roots, actually. And that is the purpose of the writer or the author of the book of Chronicles. The goal is to help the Israelites remember, re-establish their roots. And that is actually our principle for today. The principle is, nothing is more reassuring than knowing that you belong to God. When they go back, they need to remember that, hey, you know what? Before, once upon a time, we were a great kingdom. Once upon a time, we had a great king named David. And you know what? This great king, David, actually came from Jacob or Israel. Jacob came from Abraham. Abraham came from Adam. Guess what? Adam was created by God. Even though you're coming from exile, you guys are not beggars. You're not just going to occupy a place which you left many decades ago. You're going to occupy a kingdom that was once great, a kingdom that was once glorious. And you guys, you people, you belong to God. You are God's people. And if you think about it, every one of us, each one of us, we all want that sense of belongingness. We want to belong to, you will see this in basketball games, fans of several teams, they fight against each other, one team against another team. The fans fight as if they're really part of the team because it gives them a sense of belongingness. And we all want that. And in terms of belongingness, nothing is more reassuring than knowing that we belong to God's team. That we belong to God. That's what the Chronicles is saying here by trying to trace all the genealogies. In fact, after this, Chronicles chapter 3 talks about the descendants of David. And then after that, it talks about the descendants of the different tribes of Israel. Descendants of Judah, descendants of Simeon, descendants of Reuben, descendants of Gad. Because these people were exiled. And they can't just go back without knowing where they came from. So the author of Chronicles is trying to make sure that you guys belong to God. You are a people of God. You belong to these people picked and anointed by God because you actually came straight from Adam, and Adam was created by God. So if you come to a point where you struggle with your identity, you want to feel that sense of belongingness. Now you might be tempted to just choose a group, maybe your family, maybe the school that you're going to, the university, I don't know, your nationality, your citizenship. We all long for that kind of belongingness. But I'm telling you, there's no assurance greater than knowing the fact or the truth that you belong to God.